Right, okay, should be all right now. Sorry.
No, no worries at all. Thank you for doing it. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Baruch hu ni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I think we're back one. There we go. We're welcoming the Shabbat bride with the words of Lachadodi. Lachadodi lihikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lachadodi lihikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Shamo v'zacho b'dibor echad hishmianu El hamiuchad Adonai echad hu shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabala lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabala Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki meko habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshav hatila lehadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nekabela, hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi uri, shidaberi, kavod Adonai, alaich nigla, lechadodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lechadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala gam b'simcha, uv'tzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lechadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. As we turn over the page, we call each other to prayer with the words of the Baruch Hu. Yananai nai nai, 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 yananai nai nai. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai ומבורך לעולם ועד. לעולם ועד. ינאי נאי נאי, 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 ינאי נאי נאי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים, בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומביא יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסור ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך לך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, eternal one, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly, we accepted your rule. And then, full of joy, we sang together. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh, nora tehilot oseh feleh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh, nora tehilot oseh feleh. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, כי נאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. I wonder, sing the first line, or we'll all sing the first line together. And then Rania, if you'd be happy to read the translation for us, it'd be really lovely to hear it. Excuse me. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you.
Go for it.
We praise you, O God. May your sheltering, I can't see the bottom. May your sheltering peace descend on us. Amen.
And on all who dwell on earth. Baruch atah Adonai haporesh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Thank you, Rania. If we go to the next page, in the words of the Amidah. Adonai Sefavtai tiftach Ufi yagid tehilatecha Adonai Sefavtai tiftach Ufi yagid tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol B'Zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imaot ומביא גולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועצרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני יפה, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך. מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. And Danielle, would you be happy to read this for us, please?
We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace.
Amen. Thank you. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. Amy, would you be happy to read this for us, please?
Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness, your Sabbath, enter our hearts, and may all Israel, who hallow your name, be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
Baruch atah Adonai makadesh et השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לו רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך ביראה נעבוד. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, ואת כל העמים, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, עושה השלום. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני האדם. One of the first times I heard that setting, it's by Beit Tefillah Israeli, who are a community, I suppose. They're a group that lead services, and during the summer, they lead services on the Namal, on the port in Tel Aviv, and we used to go every now and again. I lived in Jerusalem, so we didn't go that often, but when I was in Tel Aviv, we tried to go, and they had to stop for a while during the last Gaza war in 2014 because there were rockets coming into Tel Aviv, and then they started back up again, and we went, and I remember we were stood in the service and we were singing that kind of very deep soulful melody, and as we were singing it, a warplane flew over our heads, and it just felt like it felt so disjointed that we were singing this prayer, or maybe it was perfect, who knows, but it didn't feel right that we were praying for peace as this warplane flew over our heads. And I think so deeply after this week. I mean, it's been a truly horrendous year, nearly a year really, since October the 7th and everything that's happened after it. But this week with heightened escalation in Lebanon and a real uncertainty of what's to come, and a feeling of really needing to cling on to hope when it feels like the end is not in sight. And I was reading through Lynn, you can stop sharing if that's okay. I was reading through different sermons because I am Rachel, thank God, is doing much better, but isn't 100%. So I'm covering for her tonight, which meant I didn't quite have time to write my own things about the parasha. So I was reading lots of different things, and I want to actually grab, I'm going to read a different one, but I want to grab Rabbi Charles Middleborough spoke about a line in this parasha. So this parasha, like last week's, but this week's are more brutal, talks about blessings and curses. So there's lots of other things going on in this week's parasha, and we'll talk about those as well. It's got that famous line, my father was a wandering Aramean, or depending on which interpretation you follow, a wandering an Aramean made my father wander. We're not going to get into that now, but there are also all of these curses, and they're quite brutal curses. And Rabbi Charles Middleborough talks in 2022 actually, and I was reading his piece, and I thought, oh, we could be reading the same piece now. That the Tanakh has that there's this curse in this week's parasha, which says the sights you see will drive you to insanity. So if you don't follow all of God's laws, one of the curses, the sights you see will drive you to insanity. I didn't choose this whole piece to read because, like I say, I'm really trying to cling on to hope, and this piece doesn't help you cling on to hope. But Rabbi Charles Middlebrooke talks about in 2022 kind of all of the things that were going on at that time, which made him feel like those lines, or that line, "the sights you see will drive you to insanity," was far too real for that moment. And as I was reading it, I was thinking, wow, that line there feels like a curse for our moment here as well. The sights we're seeing afar will drive us to insanity. So that I couldn't hear that melody of Osei Shalom in the context of this week without reflecting on that. But what I will bring you is this piece from Daniela. Oh, I can never, it's awful. I studied with her, Tuati, Rabbi Daniela Tuati. She's a rabbi in France, but she studied in the year above me at Leo Beck College. And she wrote on Ki Tavo about her experience in Haifa with her family, but really about how the words of Torah, or the stories in Torah as part of our heritage, can free us all in some ways. So I'll share her words with you. This summer, I returned to Haifa in search of my, she's French, so excuse me, Madeleine de Proust. Rania, how do I say that? You don't have to tell if that's
Madeleine de Proust.
the Proust. There
But
we go.
you're forgiven.
Thank you. That's great. Or rather, the Berekas of Haifa. The official aim of returning to the place I lived for 4 years was to study Hebrew and Talmudic texts, while there was an unofficial aim to reconnect with my tiny and distant family. Living together with my father's cousins related me intimately with their day-to-day life. They are both in their early 80s and are starting to wonder what kind of inheritance and legacy they will be leaving to their 2 daughters and 7 grandchildren. My aunt was keeping a journal of significant moments of her life that no one ever dared ask her about, hoping that at some point it will interest someone in the family. I was the first to listen to her memories. Nostalgia infused every moment spent together. She was especially anxious about her bookshelves, where one could find at least 1,000 books in 5 different languages: Romanian, French, English, German, and Hebrew. It's not easy to let go what one considers as a rich intellectual life. It raised for me the acute issue of being able to transmit to the next generation while at the same time letting go. This duality both generations are caught in. The givers are worried that they lived for and learn that what they lived for and learned will neither survive nor be useful for future generations. The receivers feel guilty since they feel unable to take care of this legacy. Never mind the fact that most of the bookshelf is comprised of novels or political books that might be outdated, while others, classics, could be stored more easily online. As far as books are concerned, the young generation might have the strange feeling of trampling on their spiritual legacy. Jews and books are part of a love story. We honor books as we honor our elders, but 2,000 years of tradition has given birth to a tremendous amount of books. The way we act with them is a metaphor of how we behave with our tradition. Dr. Mika Goodman, research fellow at the Hartman Institute in Jerusalem, recounted in one of his lectures about Zionism the following story. Imagine that you inherit from one of your ancestors a very large bookshelf. You can operate 3 ways. The first one is to throw everything away. The second one is to keep everything and put it in your living room. The third one is to sort out what to preserve or to hand over to friends or to a local library. This story is useful to reflect on when one has to deal with the legacy of past generations, be it physical or spiritual. Some of us might feel overburdened by our ancestors and prefer to get rid of everything, even if it risks losing any knowledge of the past. Others have a remarkable sense of awe and honour for past generations, and they would opt for keeping faithfully all their ancestors' belongings and teachings, placing them at the centre of the room and life. Therefore, rapidly, they would lack space and even air to breathe. The third option that allows one to select what is worth keeping or giving away seems the most reasonable way of dealing with one's inheritance. This week's parasha gives us some clues about how to deal with one's inheritance and place oneself in a lineage. When you enter the land that Adonai, your God, is giving you as a heritage, and you possess it and settle in it. After 40 years in the wilderness, when the Israelites are finally dwelling in the land, are they able to benefit from their inheritance? No. God is very demanding towards them and us, since God knows human nature. God asks for a final effort, an effort that may seem superhuman, that of the gift of the first fruits. Even if most of us live away from the countryside and agricultural constraints, some still have access to a garden and fruit trees. They know the patience and work it takes to see the blossom. The first fruits are a reward after several years of intensive care. However, precisely these very first precious fruits, one has to be able to deprive oneself of and donate to God. The Torah in its wisdom sees the risk of clinging on to possessions, of human greed. Each year, the same ceremony of the first fruits will take place, and each year we have to feel repeatedly the sense of wonder of coming into the land and picking without possessing its first fruits. There is a symmetry pointed out by Nechama Leibowitz between the statement one has to make when offering the first fruits, that I have entered the land that Adonai swore to our ancestors to assign us, and the one we make around the Seder table when one sees oneself as if one came out of Egypt oneself. Freeing oneself from slavery is equivalent to freeing oneself of greed. Following this religious ritual, acknowledging God's intervention in the world, we have to set aside the tithe for the Levites, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. We are commanded to take care of the weakest categories of people that reside among us before enjoying the fruits of our work. Giving part of our belongings to those who are in need is a new lesson that each generation has to perform and thus learn for itself in order to renew the covenant. There is no automatic transmission of past generations' ethical behavior. Then we have to write down these laws in a book, which will be handed down to future generations. As soon as you have crossed the Jordan into the land that Adonai your God is giving you, you shall set up large stones, coat them with plaster, and inscribe upon them all the words of this teaching. As part of the Jewish people, we are the heirs of a threefold tradition, a ritualistic religious one, which demands of us to recognize God's intervention in the world, an ethical one, which demands of us to care for the other, and a spiritual one, which is transmitted through the teachings of the book. The teachings of the book are not crystal clear. We have to study in order to clarify their meaning. We can rely on past interpretations that make sense to us today, while also generating new ones. Thus, we can reclaim our freedom at each generation. Thank you. So it was a particularly nice one as during COVID, my grandpa actually wrote and published a book of his whole family story. Well, his and my grandma's family story, and it's been handed round to all the grandchildren and all the aunts and uncles, and it's a lovely thing to have on the shelf. And I've read it. It's a very good read. We will begin to conclude our service with the words of the Aleinu. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגורר עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בחשבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחתנו. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Strange is our situation here upon earth. Each of us comes for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of others, above all, for those on whose smile and well-being our happiness depends, and also for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day, I realize how much my own outer and inner life is built upon the labors of others, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received and am still receiving. And as a community today, we are remembering Alan Convissa, brother of Brian Convissa, Alec Russell, father of Paul Russell, David Martin, partner of Juliet Granger, Jeffrey Edward, brother of Ken Edward, Jean Don, mother of Judith Russell, Joseph Summercon, father of Janet Byrne, Leon Gerlis, father of Alex Gerlis, Pat Feinberg, mother of Tony Feinberg, Pauline Franklin, mother of Rita Beach, William Bloom, father-in-law of Marion Bloom, Pauline Levine, mother of Stephen Levine, Sylvia Fryman, mother of Francis Spiegel and grandmother of Sarah Spiegel, Jacqueline Rosen, wife of Neil Rosen, Rose Solomons, mother of Beryl Sontag, and Fred Sonnenberg, husband of Judith Sonnenberg. And if anyone is remembering someone at this time, please do say, unmute and say their name. We say the words of the Kaddish together with all those who mourn. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ol almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitnaman v'yitnaseh, v'yithada v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kusha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, diamiran bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromah, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei adam, v'imru amen. And I don't know if we have any announcements.
I'm going to be very brief, not announcements, but thank you, Anna, for stepping in for Rachel, who isn't well, but I think she'll be fine for tomorrow.
Yes.
What I've heard. And I've got a big challenge tomorrow. I've been told I can't get involved in the arrangements, so I'm just going to have to sit in one seat. I had a challenge today. And as I was logging on to the Zoom service, I was told to do a Zoom update.
A Zoom update? Well, there you go.
Yeah, and it happened at that moment because I wanted to be there on time. And it's like, it's like you just like being in a queue. It
Yeah.
was I wouldn't say it was stressful. I found ways of coping, but I'd have liked to have been for the service earlier. But
Just frustrating, isn't it? Well, we're glad you were able to join us.
yeah, seeing the egg timer and all that. But thank you, Anna, for stepping in.
My pleasure. And tomorrow we're the reason Kevin can't do anything is because we're honouring all of our wonderful, wonderful volunteers by giving everybody a day off. But please be there so that we can honour you. So Rachel and I are gonna hold it and just give you guys all the time to enjoy.
Yeah, you might have to tie me to a chair.
I don't mind if you need to bounce around a bit, whatever you need to
I
do.
might have to bounce around a little bit. But anyway,
Yeah.
so thank you, Anna, for stepping in tonight.
No, my pleasure. And actually, I'm gonna the song that we're gonna conclude with, I'm bringing here. So some of you have heard it before we sing it all together tomorrow, and also to practice it a little bit for myself as well. So let's see what happens. So Carrie Newcomer is actually an American Christian songwriter. I think she writes music. Tamara will know better than me, but I think she writes music for these like kind of big churches, you know, the kind of evangelical big churches. And she's got this one, which is from Pirkei Avot, and she's also got another one you may have heard, which is so beautiful about, which is the priestly blessing. And actually, we had a bunch of school kids visiting, and I showed them the priestly blessing in the Torah and told them what it meant. And one of the kids says, "Oh, we sing those words in my church," and she meant the Carrie Newcomer song. So anyway, this is a bit of Christian spiritual that we have in our. I don't think it is a spiritual, but anyway, and it goes like this: If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. And a lot of it's like that, so join in when you know it. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll take the journey and we'll walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. We'll work until it's done. Every daughter, every son, and every soul that ever longed for something better, something brighter. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. There's one more page. There we go. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. And miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I think there's one final blessing and then we will Kiddush together. We'll say for each other in the plural, Yevarachenu Adonai Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerenu. Adonai panav eleinu v'chunenu. Yisa Adonai panav eleinu v'yasem lanu shalom. May God bless us and keep us. May the light of God's face shine upon us and be gracious to us. May God's face be turned towards us and give us peace. Amen. So let's Kiddush together. If you want to grab your Kiddushy bits. I was right the first time, I think. Hello, you want to come to Kiddush? Come on then. Come with your Kiddush. Yeah. Ready? Oh. There we go. Hello. 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 You ready? We'll wait for Kevin. Yeah, we're gonna do Kiddush. Do you want to hold the cup? Maybe in a second. Yeah, we'll hold it together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oh, I think. There we go. Okay, Bari. I got confused for a second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Bari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon chinchilanu. Zicharon lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom tehila lemikra kadesh. Zeh letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'achata v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon chinchiltanu. Baruch atah Adonai makadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. There you go. It's empty. Want that last bit? Here we go. Danielle, take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom. I'll just give some to Poppy. I was trying quickly to find a couple of books. You talked about writing books. Well, we have a couple of pup dates books. That is books. What would be the word? Ghost authored or whatever, by Poppy, called My Favourite Humans and My Favourite Newly Married Humans.
So cute.
They're quite, Stephen wrote them. They're very, very funny with loads of photos.
That's really cute. That's so lovely.
But yeah, Poppy hasn't quite made it in here. She's aged a lot in the last couple of months. She's not great anymore. I'll just quickly give her some colour.
Jonas, Shabbat Shalom.
Good, Ellen, say Shabbat Shalom.
Jonah, can you give me a wave?
You can do. Say hello.
Tamara, can you give me a wave?
Hello, Shabbat Shalom.
Fam's all here.
Hey.
Say hello.
Nice to see you all.
Hello.
And you.
Oh,
It's been a lovely service.
Shabbat Shalom. We'll work on
Is
that.
that going to be his first words?
He's got too many words for that to be his first
Okay.
word.
Okay, so long as they're clean.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll hopefully see lots of you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
unfortunately, I was asked, well, Rachel did email me originally and I said I'd try and come for half an hour. We got a reunion at the Olympic Park for Games Makers. But unfortunately, I've now got to visit Harold, Stephen's dad.
Yeah.
So Stephen will be at Shul doing the Zoom and I will visit his dad. And then
Right. So you'll send the best to Harold.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, send our best. I was planning on doing the Zoom, so we'd love for Stephen to be there, but honestly, we wanted everyone